Hello, good afternoon. It's a great week that is starting. I hope you have a nice, enjoyable, and productive week, okay? So, we will continue studying the conditional tense, but it's almost over, I guess. And remember that we started studying the verb wish. We saw some situations involving wish, I explained them to you. Then we will finish the conditional tense and start studying the verb wish, right? And as I mentioned before, it's not as if we are going to finish studying one topic, because there is a connection among topics in English. When you study, for example, present perfect, right before, just in the beginning, in my first videos, then you study again, for example, would have gone, right? So there is a connection. And there is the importance of studying grammar within a context, okay? So let's get going. No more further ado, let's start seeing what we are supposed to see. Well, is it possible to use, remember, I wish, I would travel to Japan. Is it possible to use would or would have after wish? I would have traveled. No, it's not possible. You can't use after. Why you can't use? For example, you can use I wish I was. I wish I traveled. That's correct, okay? I wish I would travel is also wrong. I wish I traveled to Japan. It's a past referring to a future situation or in the present. Now you want to travel to Japan. You haven't been to Japan yet, but you still want to travel. Or you can say, I wish I would have, I wish I had visited, I wish I have visited New York City, for example. I was in the USA, for example. This took place in the past, okay? I was in the US last year, and back then, I wish I had visited New York City. So, it's very clear that you use wish with past, meaning present. It means present tense, and you can also use meaning. You can use the past perfect, meaning past. It's very clear. I had explained that the last time I recorded the video. It's clear. Okay, let's see the difference now. So it's clear. Is it clear that it's not possible to use I wish I would travel, I wish I would have traveled? No, I wish I traveled, I wish I had traveled. So after wish you can use both verb tenses, past or past perfect, okay, to replace it. Let's see. If I had gone to school this week, I would be better prepared for the test. If I had gone to school, I would be better prepared for the test. Remember, what's wrong with this sentence? Is there anything wrong? No, it's not wrong. And that's a trap, perhaps, but pay attention to the meaning of this sentence. Remember, when we studied the conditional tense, when I have if plus pronoun plus past perfect, and that's the situation of this sentence written right here, if I had gone to school. The next sentence comes with would plus have plus a verb in the past participle. So you ask me, Thales, why I am using here I would be instead of would have and a verb in the past participle? Because it means it has a meaning in the present. I am not prepared for the test. It means that I would be better prepared. And right now, it has a connection with now, because now I am not prepared for the test, okay? But on the other hand, now using the traditional structure that I have explained in previous videos, if I had gone to school this week, I would have been better prepared. I would have been. This has a meaning in the past, okay? It means that I wasn't prepared back then. So when you use the present perfect in the if part of the sentence and the next part of the sentence comes with would, just would, it has a present meaning. I believe this structure is not very common. When I studied English back then, when I was a child and as a teenager, I didn't study such structure. And it's very unusual to me, right? But I guess it's important to broaden your alternatives, your possibilities to make a sentence, okay? But remember that in general, when you use if pronoun past perfect, for example, if I had gone to school, the next sentence comes with would have and a verb in the past participle, and it has a meaning in the past. If I say I would have been better prepared, it means that I wasn't prepared. Here, it means I am not prepared, okay? So that's the main difference. And just to end this topic of the conditional tense with the past perfect, remember that when we saw this structure, I emphasized that it's possible to use would, could, or might, right? Plus have, plus a verb in the past participle. Take note that the meaning of the sentences, depending on which word, which verb you use, changes, okay? The meaning is a little different, okay? if he hadn't been so stubborn. He wouldn't he would have traveled with us. If he hadn't been so stubborn, he would have traveled with us. Okay, I have a friend and I tried to convince him to travel, but nothing I could say was enough. So he would have traveled with us. Okay. When I replace would with could, let's replace to see if it changes the meaning. If he hadn't been so stubborn, he could have traveled with us. So it was a possibility. He would have been able to travel with us. Would have been able to. Because you see, when you say could have, remember that the verb able to bears similarity with the verb can. To be able to is the same of can. For example, I am able to speak English. I can speak English. When you use could is in the past, okay? So you say, I was able to do something. And when you use the past participle here, I could have traveled, it has the same meaning as this. He would have been able to travel with us. And why I use would? Because after past perfect, I have to use would, or could, or might. So would have been able to. Okay? It has the same meaning. It's a possibility that he traveled with us. And finally, I'm just erasing this to replace with the last example. When I use might, you remember, might gives us doubt about something. We are not sure about it. Maybe, perhaps, he would have traveled with us, but I'm not sure of it. So when I say, if he hadn't been so stubborn, he might have traveled with us. Okay? He might have traveled with us. It gives us doubt, okay? It lights doubt into the matter. I'm not sure whether he will travel, would have traveled with us or not. Perhaps his being stubborn doesn't change the situation, okay? All right. So we have finished this topic. The next lesson, I hope I can be more brief. We will talk about the verb wish, but it will be a lesson dedicated to the verb wish, okay? All right, see you later.